Welcome to Escaping Purgatory, a podcast where we rewatch Supernatural, then talk it through in the hopes that we can finally escape this show.
Join us each week, leave comments on upcoming episodes, and together we can escape Supernatural Purgatory.
Hello.
Hiya.
We are back with the mid-season finale. Not our mid-season finale, but a season finale.
Yes. This one was good. I enjoyed it very much.
Me too, even though it's a really sad episode.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I was going to say it's the beginning of killing off characters, but it's really not. Yeah, it's really, really not. Well, maybe.
I think, these were their sort of closest friends that have died, right?
Mm-hmm.
It upped the stakes, these deaths.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
So, of course, we are talking about Season 5, Episode 10, Abandon All Hope, written by Ben Edlund and directed by Phil Segresha, which you wouldn't have guessed in that first scene, but we'll get to that in just a moment.
There's a little bird called Robert Singer just whispering in his ear, like, it's the mid-season finale, use the Zoom.
That is exactly correct. You just know the days that Rob Singer is on set.
Yeah. The thing I love about Phil Segresha though is this felt like old school. I know we're only season 5, but this felt like old school Supernatural, like darkness.
Yeah, it definitely felt. The episode felt washed out.
It was good.
Yeah, it was very good.
Mm-hmm.
And we were saying before we started recording that we didn't really know what we're gonna say because it's so plot heavy, but we'll find something.
But there are still things. There's a few things, and I feel like this is an iconic episode without maybe people realizing that it's an iconic episode. There are a few things in here that are quoted often by the fandom, in fanfic or GIFs and things, and I don't know that until you rewatch Supernatural, oh, that's all from the same episode.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing that stood out to me in this episode, outside of the sort of main plot, I guess, is how different Lucifer is here than he is at the end of the show. And I'm wondering if the cage broke him again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah. It's funny because later seasons, Mark Pellegrino almost plays Lucifer a parody of the character, if that makes sense. They're not the same character. I don't know.
It's because in this, I don't know how I feel, whether I prefer later Lucifer or this one. And I'm wondering maybe they changed it when Chuck became God as well, because the way that Lucifer speaks in this episode, and how the demons revere him and treat him like God, even Meg calling him father.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it was a conscious choice to be we actually have God in the show. Let's turn Lucifer into a parody of Lucifer.
He's more a child in older later seasons. Here he is kind of you can feel he's a malevolent presence, and he's trying to play up to that father role, I guess, the leader role. But in later seasons, he's just so meh.
Why doesn't anybody love me?
Yeah, he lost some of, actually all of his gravitas, and any kind of. I wasn't scared of Lucifer in later seasons, but here, he's menacing. He's really menacing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it this bit of maybe like phoning it in. Is that rude to say? Do you know what I mean? Like, because I feel, like this is a good character of Lucifer, like the way that it's played. I think he did a really good job here, and I do feel like in later seasons, I don't know how, like, I don't get it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I will see. I'm sure we'll have more to comment on that as we go through. And there's also like Sam's hallucinations of Lucifer and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what I mean by like, did the cage break in Lucifer again? Because that's basically.
Yeah. I mean, that's right. Okay. No, I need to break this down for a second. So we have this Lucifer here who's quite like very serious, kind of playing on Sam's version of Lucifer a little bit, actually. You can see where they mesh together. I know we said in the end, like, oh, they're really different. Like, he should have used like Jared's version, but actually I think that he did, and you can kind of see it here. And then you get, like, after Sam comes back and you get sort of the hallucination Lucifer, who is completely different, kind of, he's the like whiny, like, one. But then when Lucifer actually comes back in later seasons, he's still acting like the hallucination. Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah, because, I guess that's the problem though, isn't it? Like, because then he actually becomes a father, and that whininess still exists.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't revert back to this. Like, I think he kind of tries to in a couple occasions, but I think, again, Jack doesn't really get behind that version.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I said, it's going to be interesting to sort of track his character regression, maybe, rather than development.
Yeah, actually, no, I think you're right. I think that is the kind of right word to use. And the thing is, like, it's a lot taking on a role like that, because there's a lot to compare it to. Like, many people have played Lucifer throughout the years, and some have done really good jobs, and some better than others. I actually really like, I'm going to go back to it, I do like the Sandman version of Lucifer at the moment. I feel like this could be like my fave so far. And the other like notable one is obviously like Tom Ellis playing Lucifer, but he's just he's basically a Crowley character. Yeah. Anyway, but I'm interested. I liked him in this episode though. I'll go with that.
Final thing on this, real fast.
Yeah.
Lucifer acts like an angel in the beginning.
Yes. No, that's it. Yes.
And then suddenly he's no longer an angel when he comes back for some reason.
All that humanity rubbed off on him. And then maybe, you're right though, maybe that's Sam's influence.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah. But that makes sense, right? Because they were trapped in the cage for thousands of years or whatever, how old Sam is by the time he comes out of the cage, like, who knows? But he has been stuck with humans, right? So maybe, and also maybe being stuck with your brother who you're going to fight.
This is true. This is also true. But you can't say the same for Michael though, right? Because Michael Jake Abel did such a good job with keeping that, like...
Yeah, but we don't really see... The difference is that we don't really see Michael before he goes back into the cage. Like, we don't really get that characterization. We just know that he has changed, though. He does change because he's possessed Adam. Like, they're fast friends or something more, wink, wink. So, yeah, I mean, if the cage can change Michael's view on the apocalypse, like, why can it change Lucifer's like almost personality, or maybe bring out something in his personality that was there but maybe not on the surface?
Like I said, something to track along with everything else that we're trying to keep track of. Pretty sure I've forgotten everything that we're supposed to keep track of, but that's fine.
Travel light, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. One thing at a time. So yeah, I guess we can get into it and break down the main plot of this episode now that I've started a tangent already.
It's all good. It's all good.
So the recap of last week, the recap for this episode was basically the beginning of this season with introducing Meg and then showing Joe and Ellen and Rufus in the second episode.
Yeah.
Cass saying if you're going to take this insane task, you need to go find the cult. And then I realized what Becky's line was at the end of that episode. Do you remember, you've seen Deadpool, right? The first one?
Yeah.
So when he's at the bar after he's like gone through his transformation before he goes through his transformation, the bartender hands him a drink and says, there's a guy over there who looks like he's here to further the plot.
Yeah.
That was basically Becky's line in that episode.
So true.
So we get that line that Bella didn't give the cult to Lilith. She gave it to her her right hand man, Crowley, and that's it.
I will say one thing. I feel like Crowley working for Lilith is never mentioned ever again.
I think you're right.
Because I thought about it and I was like, but what was his role? Why was he... If he... Knowing Crowley, it was just like getting close to power, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's the game that was going on at the time. And then they actually opened the gates of hell and he was like, whoa.
So if anything, he's probably like the office manager, right? Like, because she holds all the contracts, right? That's what the idea behind her is. So he doesn't go out into the field. He's just like in the office, making sure that all the like contracts are like going through. And that's basically what they mean by right hand man. Like, he's the organizer. And I only say that because when he takes over hell, he makes it into a giant line for like a minute. And I feel like that's what an office manager would do, just like make everybody's life just like more complicated than it needs to be, because who needs an office manager, really?
Maybe Crowley invented bureaucracy.
Oh, yes.
If anything's from hell.
He started office politics and all of that. Yeah, that is actually 100%. Yep. So we're at like an overpass. There's a whole bunch of like roads going everywhere, and this businessman comes out of a limo and he does the summoning of a crossroads. Interesting choice of crossroads. I mean, it kind of makes sense because there's like, the overpasses have lots of, I call it spaghetti junction because there's a whole bunch of roads everywhere. And then the man of the hour, Mark Sheppard. So I've actually thought of a convention question from Mark Sheppard.
Yes. Because
he's been in basically everything. You look at any series, he's in it somewhere across like the past, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
I want to know what role he didn't take and if he ever like does he regret not taking it?
Oh, that's a good one, because I bet he's been offered loads. Yeah.
And like how did he get so many roles? I guess he never said no.
I feel like he's done the thing is, I'm saying this, Mark Sheppard is a great actor, that's why he got so many roles, but also he definitely plays into the like gruff British persona. For me, he's in the same category as Sean Pertwee. Yeah, he plays Alfred in Gotham. He's in You as the bodyguard. If you've watched that in the latest season of that, I feel like they both play on the gruff British thing, which is apparently in demand in America.
And so before he got the name, I was going to say Jason Statham because he does the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Comparing Mark. But I feel like Jason Statham couldn't do... Oh, maybe he could do Crowley.
Yeah, have you not seen Spy?
I don't know if I have seen Spy.
With Melissa McCarthy, and like he's like,
oh no, I have. No, I have watched that. Yeah, you're right. He totally could. Yeah. No,
it's my favorite line from that is where he's like, "No, you're gonna fuck this up." No, you're gonna. It's like really ridiculous.
He is literally in everything. Like, Mark Sheppard's in Battlestar Galactica too. He plays like a lawyer called Lampkin. He definitely goes through like law types, because even Crowley's kind of feels law adjacent. He's not, but you know what I mean, because of the contracts and stuff.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, he's also in the X-Files, but in that he's just like a fire starter.
Yeah, he plays a like wizard guy in Doom Patrol that's written by Jeremy Carver. He's pretty good in that. He appears every now and then. Sorry.
He was also in Firefly.
Yes, Badger.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots. Like his film, like his IMDb page is massive.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And Doctor Who. He was in Doctor Who, playing an American, which was weird for me. Like, why? We all know you're British. Why are you playing an American on a British? I don't know. It's fine. Yeah, but he's here and looking really like young. I was just like, oh, he looks so different. Oh,
he does. He really does. I mean, it's over 10 years ago, so almost like 15. And the older gentleman is called Mr. Pendleton, and he is kind of disappointed to see Crowley.
The name's Crowley.
In my negotiations, I was dealing with a very young, attractive lady.
Yes, I know.
Who was almost definitely Crowley in a different vessel, right? Oh no?
I don't think so. Because he says, I wanted to do the honor of sealing the deal personally.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, he's taking on a, managerial role to mess with this guy.
Basically, yeah. And this is, we already knew that deals were sealed with kisses. Obviously. Yeah. We've seen it with Dean multiple times. And the business guy almost backs out because he's homophobic. And then Mark Sheppard goes for it. Just full on pulling this guy's mouth to his own. And then when he...
You don't understand how much I love this.
As this kiss is going on, it like kind of goes over their head, does a massive zoom. And you see, nobody could see that, but I just like put my hand out. And you see Cass behind like a pillar. It says,
"Got him."
And this is like, what?
So good.
Like the thing is though, the rest of this episode has really amazing cast transitions.
Yes, it does. Matrix style. It took me a while to place the reference, but it is, yeah.
But suddenly we have this like I'm actually at a loss for words because I'm like,
so bad.
I didn't even know that like TV camera lenses were telephoto. Like they could do. I mean, obviously there are telephoto lenses, but this is literally like going from, I don't know, let's say 50 mil to like 400.
No, I raised you something funnier. That they spent the time setting up like a camera on a wire just for this shot.
Do some Alfred Hitchcock like directing camera work.
I don't know why they got him. It's so funny.
It's so unlike Cass.
Yeah, he's well, yeah, because I don't know. I want to see the conversation that Dean, and you know it was Dean, had with Cass before he sent him to go find Crowley, because did he like reference a Columbo or something, or because Cass is trying something in this episode? Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe, you know, as we're seeing more of Cass, like he is starting to lose his like angel shine a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if like that's what we're kind of seeing, that like he's turning more human. So he's not like so that's why he said got him. Like it's not conscious like word choice. It's just like he's been around Dean and Sam for so long that he's picked up the like speak.
And we do see that with Cass actually. Like as we go on, he does pick up more and more their mannerisms, which I love. I love seeing that little journey. But yeah, it's everything. It's everything. Yeah, I love it. It's great. Go watch it again. People have made gifs of this, of like, and you know, I want to use it for everything now. Ever. Like, honestly.
Got him.
I can see it in my head perfectly. I love it so much. It's great. Yeah. Does it go from that into the title card? It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So stupid. So stupid. So we cut back to the exact same spot that like they were, and Cass is saying into the phone that
Demon Crowley is making a deal. Even as we speak, it's going down.
Dean says going down. Right, okay, Huggy Bear, just don't lose him. I think, if my memory serves, Huggy Bear is a detective from a 1970s detective show. Am I correct?
Yeah.
You're nodding at me. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Cass is tailing Crowley. And so this banker guy goes back and Crowley's just like, enjoy the obscene wealth. See you in 10 years. I kind of like that kind of cosmic justice. I wish it was real that like the billionaires in our world have made a deal. And you know they're going to, you know, maybe pay for it later.
Get eaten by some hellhounds.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one of the really cool transitions that they do. So Crowley walks off with like talking on his phone, like messing with his phone, and as he walks behind a pillar, he disappears, and Cass appears to be right behind him, and then he does the same thing, like he disappears behind a pillar. So they've flown off. Cass is now at a mansion, and he says, like, I followed him. It's not far, but it's layered in Enochian warding magic. What I kind of like from this is that we really do get the idea from this episode that Cass doesn't see the world like humans do.
Yeah.
Because it shows the mansion like just looking normal, and then once he says it, it changes so you can see all the warding. And this happens twice in this episode, that we get something from Cass's perspective that he's seeing that nobody else can. So you kind of wonder what else he sees that nobody else can. You know?
What would have been really interesting, which may not have played, like, things change, obviously, but how he sees humans would have been really interesting to see in this episode. I know the reason why I say things can change is because he obviously in 1518.
You had to go there.
I did.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots, like, you know, people think that maybe he can see people's souls because there was a line about, I'm sure he calls Sam's soul like corrupted or tainted in some way at some point. I feel like that happened, or I read it in a fan fiction. Like, who knows what's the difference between like canon and not at this point. But yeah, I feel like that's been theorized, and yeah, but he definitely sees other things. Yeah. So, you know, Cass can't get in because of this warding, and Dean's like, that's okay, you did great, we'll take it from here. And I wonder how long that you did great fueled Cass. Like, I did a good job. Dean said, I did great.
Right? I mean, getting praise from Dean, I think anybody would feel like on top of a mountain for a very long time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He gives it out so rarely.
Yeah.
So it's that now nighttime, and we see a blonde woman in a small dress come up to the button on the gate, and she's like, hello, my car broke down.
I'm all meek.
And then it's Joe playing a part.
In this episode, it's weird how it switches like viewpoints. So we just had Cass, right?
Yeah.
This one, unfortunately, is Dean.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it like really focuses on her like dress, which is very low cut and very short.
Yeah.
For no reason.
There's like at least two butt shots of Joe in this episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe very uncomfortable.
I know. Why? Now we know why. Okay. So these two guys approach her who look like security, and they're like, they're creepy actually, but they are demons. So I guess creepiness comes with the territory. Like we always knew they were going to be demons. Like from the moment they opened the gate, like surely, right?
Yeah, there's no yeah.
I mean, it's not even like explicitly creepy, but the way he calls her baby and says, "We're the only help you're ever going to need," is like,
yeah. I mean, that's everybody's worst nightmare, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, being broken down on the road with like two creepy guys. Yeah.
All you want is some help, and they're like not being helpful.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't like it. So, Joe's kind of backing out of this, and the first guy like grabs her and his eyes go black. So yeah, he's a demon, and tries to like pull her in the house, but they fight. Yeah, they fight, and then Sam's stabbing some demons with the knife. That's basically what happens. He does the stab the knife through the neck move, and then they love doing this in Supernatural where you see the knife emerge and then they fall forwards and the person who stabbed them is behind them. And it was Sam. I was fully expecting it to be Dean. I went, oh, Sam.
Yeah.
But Dean is there as two. He's like, nice work, Joe. And they all sort of break in to this mansion. Crowley's inside and he's watching. They're just trying to like portray him as evil because he's sat watching footage of like World War II parades, like Nazi parades. That was a choice. And
I'm like, if he could literally just be learning about, like, it could be on like the History Channel or something. Like, it's really not that. It's not that unusual to see that imagery because of History Channels, basically.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Especially since, like, I don't feel like we ever see this kind of side of Crowley again. Like, he starts to show his evilness through his actions. Yeah.
Like, you don't need to be explicitly told, oh, yeah, this guy is kind of, like, bad because he's watching Nazis. Like, it's too on the nose is what it is. Yeah. Like, I don't know, show him, like, watching a lion eat an antelope or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that kind of thing.
Or
just don't.
They're going to make two detective references, right, in this, because we've already had Huggy Bear, and we're about to have another one. Like, have him watching some, like, detective show or something, like it's Columbo or something, just like something really random.
Then like don't. He could have just been sat they can't show smoking on TV anymore, that's why. Smoking a cigar, drinking whiskey, I don't know. But you're right, like Crowley is evil in a I don't know, in a selfish way. Yeah. I
mean, you could also just not think outside of the box and just have him listening to like classical music, right? That's the typical thing. Evil guy with a drink, listen to Beethoven or something. You
could have got him listen to Wagner. Like, that would have been fun. Like, would have like made the same. Anyway, whatever. So the electricity cuts out and he leaves. And Sam's there, and he's like, it's Crowley, right? And Crowley calls them the Hardy Boys. It's like, took you long enough. So as he approaches them, he notices that the rug in front of them has been, like, messed with. And he looks underneath it, and they've drawn a devil's trap on the bottom of the rug. I don't know why. I hadn't watched this episode for a little while. I thought, oh, they're going for the rug fake out and they've actually just drawn it on the ceiling too. Like, that would have been really good.
Yeah.
If he maybe didn't fall for both, because he clearly knows who they are and he knows their tricks.
Mm-hmm. So
he's mad because he's like, do you know how much this rug costs?
Sorry, so the reason why I laugh is that he reached down, pulls up the rug, right? Yeah. Can you imagine if only his arm got stuck in the devil's trap?
That would have been quite good, to be fair.
Anyway.
So two guys come and grab Sam and Dean, and they like manage to get their weapons off them, and then Crowley's like, but he holds up the Colt and he's like, hey, look, I've got it. Like, is this what this is all about? And then he aims the gun at Dean, but shoots both of the guys holding them instead. So, oh no, he killed some demons with some apparently very expensive bullets that they have loads of for some reason. We'll talk about that in a minute.
So, I don't think Crowley realized how much that act of killing demons for Sam and Dean probably actually persuaded them that he's like not so bad. Like, I know they say in this episode that they shouldn't trust a demon, but like every time that another demon or another entity kills demons for them, they instantly trust whatever that person's going to say.
That's true, actually. You're right, yeah. They do. They're too trusting sometimes.
Yeah.
Definitely shouldn't trust Crowley. Think how many problems would have been solved if they don't, like, stop messing with Crowley. So he takes him into his office, and, you know, Dean and Sam are sort of noted, they're quite confused about what's going on. And Crowley's like, do you know how deep I could have buried this thing? And he sort of like shows off his power by just closing the door with a wave of his like Jedi Force hand. Or I guess in this case, Sith. He's like, there's no reason you or anyone should know this even exists, except that I told you. Okay, I don't understand this bit. I don't understand it because... here's what I think it means, and I just think there's like almost some bits missing of them finding Crowley. They just sort of cut to, you know, Cass found him. Is that they found out that he had the Colt from Becky, but Crowley must have been leaving them clues as to his location of where they wouldn't have found him.
Why tell us anything?
I want you to take this thing to Lucifer and empty it into his face.
What I do like is the way that he speaks to them doesn't ever really change. Like, this line could be from any season, because, you know, he says it's called survival.
But I forgot you two at best are functional morons.
Yeah, you're functioning morons.
So, you know, Crowley explains why. He's like, you know, Lucifer isn't a demon, he's an angel famous for his hatred of humankind. To him, you're just filthy bags of pus. If that's the way he feels about you, what can he think about us? That was rhyme. You did a poem, Crowley, and you didn't even know it. And he's like, well, you know, to him, we're just cannon fodder. Like, once Lucifer exterminates humankind, then we're next. You know, let's go back to simpler, better times, back to we can all follow our nature. Like, he says, I'm in sales, damn it. And he's, you know, so I'll give you this and go kill the devil. I mean, he's right, though, because demons used to be humans, so why would Lucifer have anything but contempt for them?
Right. And he, like, the angels already think demons are less than human, and angels don't like humans in general right now anyway, so they're all on the same path.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lucifer's ultimate aim would be to rule in heaven, right? And it is, yeah. I mean, we see that later on, too. So, yeah, you know, Crowley holds it out and he's like, woo, take it, woo. And Sam takes it and they're just like, okay, at each other. And then Sam's like, well, you wouldn't happen to know where he is as well? And Crowley's like, yeah, okay, well, Carthage, Missouri. And they're just all like, great. And then Sam, like, tries to shoot Crowley. This is, again, well, again, I know that he's pretty smart because he didn't put any more ammunition in the gun than he needed. So he says, like, oh, you're going to need some more ammunition. And he goes and gets some. Okay. He brings out this big case, like, full of bullets. Do you see the big case?
I did.
I'm very sure, and I don't know if I'm right. Has this already happened? Where they no, it hasn't. They make a whole deal about it being really hard to make ammo for the cult, right? And like Bobby has to like make some. Or did they already do that?
I think they've already done that. Because so is it the cult that kills them, or is it the bullets? Because Bobby fixes the cult and it becomes his gun, right?
Yeah,
We've already kind of established that because it goes from blue to red when Ruby gives it back to him. And, you know, he's test firing just bullets.
Yeah. So the gun is, I think the gun is magic, not the bullets. Like you couldn't, if you put those bullets in another gun, they'd just be normal bullets. It has to be the bullet plus the gun. I'm sure they have some kind of like inscription or something, but like, yeah. 'Cause you're right.
But then when they find the gun, that's when they're like, you know, we only have 7. And, you know, John gets pissed when they use one for something other than...
Maybe it's just because it's an old gun they don't make bullets for anymore. I don't know. Like, I feel like the bullets are special in some way, in a way that I can't tell you. But maybe it's not in a way that's also like difficult, like to replicate. Maybe
the episode where they go back in time and get the original one will explain more. I doubt it though.
I think it might. I can't remember. Someone tell us. I literally cannot be bothered to Google this. That sounds really awful. But like, I feel like I had so many discussions in the first few seasons about guns and bullets for the cult. I'm so done with like their inconsistencies on this that I don't care anymore. I'm like, okay, yeah, fine, Carly, you have a full case of ammo for a magic gun. Fine.
Yeah. But I mean, if anybody could find it, it would be someone in sales, though, right?
Yeah, right. Sure. I mean, Crowley does own the moon, so you know.
Yeah, there you go. If he can own that, he can get his hands on some bullets. So my theory is that the gun is what makes it special, and you just need to like you can get any silver bullets for the gun and like inscribe it with something.
I feel like they have a devil's trap on. I feel like that's a thing.
No, not yet. But they do change how the bullets work because now when it shoots somebody, a devil's trap appears where the shot happens.
I hate this. Just stick with the lore. It would have been better if there had been like one bullet left and that bullet's for the devil, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Add some stakes. Don't just be like, oh yeah, we have 1 million bullets now, it's fine.
Because they're gonna have to like with Cass, they're gonna have to depower this gun, which is basically them losing it again.
I mean, I would argue that they do depower this gun in this episode.
I mean, but it can still kill demons. It can still kill everything. Just not. I guess it can't kill a big bad, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, we'll talk about that. More issues. So Dean asks Crowley, like, aren't you signing your own death warrant? I mean, what happens to you if we go up against the devil and lose? And Crowley's like, number 1, he's going to wipe us all out anyway.
2, after you leave here, I go on an extended vacation to all points nowhere. And 3, how about you don't miss, okay? Morons!
Throws something at Dean and like disappears.
Well, he throws the bullets at Dean.
Yeah, it's like for him to catch so he couldn't like then shoot him. It's pretty smart. So we cut to Bobby's house and Ellen and Cass are having a drinking contest, I believe. Or they're just testing Cass to see how much he can drink.
One and the same?
Yeah, I think that's it. But Ellen's like, calls him like, all right, big boy. So Cass like drinks all 5 of his shot glasses, like downs them like glug, 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 glug. And sort of like looks at his hands and goes like, oh, I think I'm starting to feel something. And they kind of look at him in disbelief. So I like that. It's a nice little glimpse into their little thing. I like when they do those little bits. It's good. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, this whole next scene is actually probably one of my favorite moments of Supernatural. Like really, like one of my favorite quiet moments of Supernatural, which just makes it more devastating of like what happens in this episode, because it is such like a nice family moment. Right?
And they did it precisely to make it more devastating later. But I agree with you. I really like it. And again, it's referenced a lot. You know, Sam and Dean are also sat there drinking a beer, and they're discussing about like, oh, it's probably going to be a trap, right? Because it's too easy. We know where Lucifer is and we're going to shoot him. We have the thing to shoot him. And Dean says,
Sam Winchester having trust issues with a demon. Well, better late than never.
Best line.
let it go, Dean. Sam just looks pissed, like he clearly hears this like daily. So it's just like, ha 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 ha. It's also kind of showing that they're kind of cool with what happened now, because they toast afterwards, like taking the mickey out of each other, and like, it's nice. And Dean's like, well, you know, whether it's a trap or not a trap, we've got Snowball's chance, but we've got to take it. And Sam's like, yeah. And Dean says, I'm not sure it is a trap, you know, Carthage is lit up like a Christmas tree with revelation omens, and look at this. And he notes that there are 6 people missing in the town, and, you know, Lucifer is likely there. Dean brings up that he doesn't want Sam to go.
Look, I go against Satan and screw the pooch. Okay. Yeah, we've lost a game piece that we can take.
Like, Dean,
You're more than a game piece.
I mean, yeah, and also like you're like you're more than a game piece. But he says that we can take, but if you're there, then we're handing the devil's vessel right over to him, and that's not smart. Just so much disregard for his own life there in that sentence. And also, I mean, I guess he doesn't know, because Sam has to say yes to Lucifer, but, you know, under what duress? Does that make sense? So, like, if they do hand him over to Lucifer, who's to say he couldn't just torture him until he says yes, you know? And they don't know if that's the case or not, so it's smart to keep Sam away, I feel. And but Sam does say, since when have we ever done anything smart? And then Sam says, like, look, haven't we learned a damn thing? If we're going to do this, we're going to do it together. And they kind of stare each other down, and Dean gives in first. He's like, yeah, right, we'll do it your way, Sam. Again, nice, because they've had this whole power struggle between them, and this is Sam, like sort of establishing dominance. I don't know how else to explain it, but it is. But it's like a mutual, like, okay, fine, we'll do it your way thing. So Dean looks like at Cass, Ellen, and Joe, and then Sam looks over too, and Sam says, boy, talk about stupid ideas. And then we see like Joe get up, and she's like looking for a bear. Again, another butt shot, because Dean's looking at her butt. And he walks over to her and basically just gives her the end of the world talk, and she calls him out on it. Like that's what this is. Also, I don't see how this is any different to I'm not going to let you die a virgin, Cass, but that's...
Because it's not. So, okay, I'm going to break this up because I really hate this scene.
Yeah.
This scene should have been replaced with Sam apologizing or acknowledging what had happened between him and Joe when he was possessed by Meg.
Yeah.
Like, she may be like, no, it's fine. I understand that you're possessed. But Sam doesn't even feel like we didn't get that moment on screen between Sam and Joe ever.
No, you're right. And that's literally like, as far as we know, pretty much the last time she saw him. So it must be super uncomfortable, and this is not acknowledged.
Right. It's like they literally just never go near each other. They just like they basically avoid each other, stay on opposite sides of the corner, and that's it. And it's just like they should have had this moment of like, because the what happens in this episode still could have happened. Like the sweet moment that happens before the horrible moment still could have happened between Joe and Dean.
Yeah.
But then it would have nice to have this resolution between Sam and Joe.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that Ellen is okay with them either.
The thing is, it would have been like, it could have been easily like 2-3 lines. It could have been, you know, Joe saying like, you know, oh, it's after, you know, since I last saw you, Sam, it's kind of weird. Like, it's kind of weird to see you again, you know, after the last time. And Sam could have been like, you know, oh, I'm really sorry for what happened. You know, I know I was possessed, but still, like, it must be like a different situation. And they could have been like, oh yeah, but it's okay, and we're all cool now, you know, like they don't have to be cool with it, but for Supernatural, like, it would have been nice to have that resolution.
Exactly. And what makes it even sadder, I suppose, is that Meg is the one that would ultimately end up killing Joe. Yeah,
you're right. Oh, you're right. That's worse. I never thought of that. Don't like that.
So, in my mind, this is just a conversation between this scene doesn't happen. It's just a conversation between Joe and Sam makes up to her.
I think, yeah, I wish it had happened. It really should have done, because they're all going in there as a team. You know, they're supposed to be a family, and that should have taken place. Because, again, like, it's also acknowledging how hard that was for Sam, because as we know, like, people are aware in their vessels once they're possessed by a demon. So I bet he feels super crappy about what happened as well.
Yeah.
Ugh. Boo.
But no, we get this dumb Dean being horny for no
I was
reason.
just like, Dean, why are you hitting on your, like, substitute sister? Yeah.
Like, Cass is in the room. Go flirt with him.
Yeah, go flirt with Cass. That's what you do best. Like, go stand awkwardly, like, closely to him and sort of, you know, sniff him or something.
Go admonish his drinking. Like, not that it really affects him.
Oh, yeah. Come on, Dean. Why aren't you challenging him to a drinking contest? Could have gone all, like, macho on him with, like, the intricate rituals, etc. Good for Joe.
No. Sweetheart, if this is our last night on Earth, then I'm going to spend it with a little thing I call self-respect.
Super hot.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good.
So, I mean, at this point, Joe is in her mid-20s.
Yeah, so she's older.
She's grown. And probably realised how stupid her crush was.
Yeah, that, and like, also, I kind of also wish she'd followed up with like, ew, no, that would be like sleeping with my brother, because I just want them to establish that they're siblings. Sibling relationship, yeah.
It just, so I kind of also can laugh at Dean, because he is so desperate that he went from going to see like this little girl, or not a little girl because she was old enough, but like, because he really treated her like a sister. Every interaction that they've ever had. And like, he's so frustrated because, you know, he can't get it on with Cass, that he's just like, you know what, anything will work for this moment.
So you're saying that it's misdirected sexual tension?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up. So, you know, Bobby calls everyone in and he says, it's time for the lineup, usual suspects in the corner. And everyone comes in and Ellen's like, no, nobody wants their picture taken. And Bobby's like, no, you're drinking my beer, like, you do what I want.
I'm gonna need something to remember your sorry asses by.
Which is, okay, no. At the end...
Yeah. I forgot he says this line. Oh, it's so dumb. But at the same time, it is a film camera, so he can develop another one.
Okay, fine. They're just ritualistically burning one of them. Yeah. So, like, Bobby has a dark room. He does. He definitely does. I just realised.
Of course he does. Yeah.
So, you know, they kind of, like, huddle together and they're all smiling. And Ellen's like, good to have an optimist around. And then Cass says,
Bobby's right. Tomorrow we hunt the devil. This is our last night on Earth.
And everyone looks like, oh. And then it takes the picture. They are making some excellent faces in this. I feel like Cass is the only one still looking at the camera like, haha.
I mean, Cass is the only one who could probably maybe survive.
That's true.
Because he could just like hop away.
Absolutely brutal. Yeah, I mean, Sam's looking at him in almost like disbelief. Dean's got his eyebrows raised. He's like, yeah, we're gonna die. And yeah, it's a good photo. I love that photo. I wish Bobby hadn't burned at the end of this episode, because I feel like it's a photo we should have seen in the bunker, like in Dean's room or something. You know?
Yeah. Almost, there's really no, because I mean, Bobby even said here, you know, with saying that he wants to remember them by, like, why would you not save it? I don't get it.
I don't know.
But I do like that they established that, oh no, he's done that before. Right? They took a picture just before they were going to go close the gates of hell, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, I think they did. I feel like they did.
I feel like they did too. Or maybe I'm just
imagining,
because I was just saying, like, I was just thinking of when in the end where we see the picture of Bobby with all the other hunters and Dean.
Yeah.
Like, it's just sort of establishing that this is what Bobby likes to do, which actually then puts into context why that picture is there. That's probably the day that Bobby died.
You're right as well. Like, he likes to take a picture before a big mission where you're probably going to die, right?
Yeah.
But then wouldn't that have been really cool if they'd carried on that tradition through Supernatural? So, you know, every time you're going to go fight the big bad, all right, guys, let's gather up, let's take a photo. And again, like in the bunker, maybe in the library, they end up with this like wall of photos of every time they almost died and didn't. But then obviously it's still got the people in it that they kind of like lost along the way. Look, I'm right. Hey, look. That would have been so nice to see. I actually want that now. Someone get Jensen Ackles on the line. I have an idea for the Winchester. Like beep boop 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 boop. Hello. Yeah, it's me again. I'm sorry. I've come up with another really great bit of Supernatural canon. I know I've rung you 10 times today. I'm really sorry, but this one's the winner.
Right, because I feel like that's a military thing, right? That they always take a picture of your squad before.
Oh, that feels right. I don't know though. I don't know enough about the military.
And also, I think that's what I'm learning from like TV, so it could not be true. So I say that because it's something that John, like, if with John being in the military, that's something that he could have been a part of.
Yeah, it could have been. I would even give him that. That could even be John's tradition, right? That Bobby does. I'm fine. I would even go so far to get that wall of photos to give that to John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the next day after the cameras flashed, and they're driving into Carthage, and we see just like this abandoned town. What's really funny about this is that you see like Sam and Dean's arms just like hanging out the window.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on? Like, someone's going to lose an arm. But they're trying to find signal for their phones, but they can't find anything. And Dean's like, no, nothing, nice and spooky.
I think the big sign is really good in the background that says anti-God is anti-American. Because, I don't know, there's something about... It's kind of weird because Supernatural doesn't really make like political statements, but everything, and if you think about everything in the set dressing and stuff has to get like pre-approved. So it's kind of I guess it's kind of an odd sign, but I guess what this is doing is establishing Carthage as maybe like a Bible Belt town.
Yeah.
And the fact that, well, we know God is gone or dead because he's allowing this to happen to people that presumably believe in him. Yeah. Because this whole town gets destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know though. It's a choice. I just thought it was a choice for Supernatural. It's a bold choice.
Yeah. And definitely, since I don't feel like Supernatural, as much as they drive around America and have all of this, it doesn't feel fundamentally American.
No, you're right. Yeah. Because I think they are kind of, especially the places they go. I feel like you're kind of sometimes missing. I mean, I'm not American, so I'm actually talking out of my like bum. But like that Bible Belt feel that you get in some of these small towns when they go to places.
Because like I get the anti-God part, but it's just the anti-American that I'm having trouble like connecting the two. Because God is in the show is not around. It's clearly established that God is not around.
Yeah.
And even when God comes back, nothing about the show becomes quintessential American in that kind of Bible bashing kind of way.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like the most like the episode that feels how I kind of get like the American portrayal of like faith and stuff is actually the episode Faith with that like like the healer. Yeah, that's the only one that really vibes with how I perceive how some Americans interact with the church and stuff. That's not everyone. It's just like that's the kind of media portrayal is like how some people interact with it, and then you don't really see it again. They until Cass becomes God, you don't really get many. There's only that one scene as well. You don't really get many interactions of people of faith in Supernatural. Not many at all.
Yeah. I'm going to circle back a little. So
yeah,
we've said that, you know, it's easy for demons to possess humans when they're struggling with something, right? So having this like massive sign and you're in the Bible Belt and all of this, so you're God-fearing, what have you, you're probably like primed to be able to be possessed. So that's why it was so easy to come after this town. Yeah,
that's true. Like the constant like, I don't know, having to try and stay on top of the Christian guilt.
Right. And I also say that as well because next to it says adult videos.
Oh,
so
yes.
like being fundamentally Christian and then also having like just porn available.
Having to live with the hypocrisy of America, right? Yes, that's what this is. Ben Edlund, I salute you, sir. As usual. As usual.
So that's two English women talking about America that we don't really know anything about. I know I live here, but I didn't grow up here.
Yeah, send us your thesis on that sign because it's a different experience being. I feel like it's a different experience being Christian in the UK. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I grew up not even religious, but like it's just a done thing that you go to church when you're younger. It just is like and then pretty much also kind of acknowledge that you just don't go anymore when you're older. Like it's weird here.
Like it's kind of it's like a rite of passage as a teenager is to stop going to church.
Yeah, it feels like that.
No. So Dean waves over Ellen's car, which has Ellen, Joe, and Cass, which I thought was a choice.
He wanted to ride with the ladies because they're the one who they treat him with a bit more respect.
Yeah. I bet they started a really good conversation before they got in the car and was just like, I need to carry on listening to this conversation and understand women.
Well, they're just chatting shit about Dean. Cass wanted to get in on that, yeah.
That's true.
That's very bad representation though, because what I just said there is that they're talking about a man in the car when they could be talking about like, you know,
anything else. Literally anything else. Yeah. So Dean and Sam are going to go to the police department and Ellen, Joe, and Cass are going to stay and try and find somebody. As Ellen and Joe get out of the car, Joe turns around and says, have you ever heard of a door handle? Because Cass is just like staying in the back of the car. And he says, of course I have. And he just like appears. I don't know if that's my favorite or the next one is my favorite of Cass's transitions.
Oh, like the next one. It's so good.
I think the next one too. Yeah. And as Cass is like looking around, he doesn't see anything apart from the three of them. And then Ellen's like, what's going on? And Cass says, this town is not empty. And then we see Cass's point of view and we see all of these Reapers. Like, there are so many.
And they're all old white men.
They are.
Which makes me think, I wonder if, as a stylistic choice, they obviously chose Reapers to look like this.
Mm-hmm.
I think there could be a couple of reasons. I feel like, first of all, the Reapers do look like funeral directors.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all dressed in black. And you kind of equate that with maybe like, and this is obviously a stereotype, but maybe like an older man, right?
Yeah.
Or they were like, oh, the gentlemen from Buffy look really creepy. Let's base Reapers on that.
Yeah, but we know that Reapers can change their form as well. And like, if you look at how Death appears in the show, like Death dresses like the rest of the Reapers in this. So maybe they conform to look like Death unless they are talking to a soul. And then, because like when Billy becomes Death, it becomes more like the representation changes.
So you're saying Billy is diversified the Reapers? Yeah, I mean, she did. But no, yeah, I think you could be right. I mean, as far as we understand it, the original Death has been Death since the beginning, right?
Right.
So it would make sense for them to emulate him. And then maybe, I like that once he dies, maybe some of the Reapers find a bit more of their own identity. But then it's also... But then but then Tessa...
Right, so she's saying that she can make herself look like anybody to basically make it okay, like help people pass.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, no, I'm fully on board with this. Actually, I like that because this is where they are summoning Death. Essentially, I know I'm kind of screwing the pooch there, but they're all sort of like, oh yeah, we'll make
Sunday
him...
best.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Reapers.
Reapers? Is there more than one?
So is it one Reaper, one soul?
Yeah, because in the last episode we saw Tessa, there was a different Reaper coming to get somebody. I think it's kind of just who's ever in an area, you know?
Yeah, but so there just has to be enough Reapers. Because if there's going to be a mass extinction, there needs to be enough for each Reaper to take one soul.
Otherwise, like the ghosts just end up hanging around for too long. You need to get them quick.
Rope them in. Because that's what Cass says. He says they only gather at times of great catastrophe: Chicago fire, San Francisco quake, Pompeii. And he says, "Excuse me, I need to find out why they're here." But like he walks past all of them. He doesn't like stop to try and like talk to. Maybe he's looking for the leader, which is because they are all looking in one spot.
That's true. Yeah,
he's probably going to that point of where they're looking. And then my favorite transition. Yeah. He like looks up to a window and we see a Reaper, like kind of, he looks almost like the Reaper from Faith. Like, very sunken in and like wrinkly. And then it turns back to Cass and then he's in the building.
I swear to you, this is a direct copy of a transition from The Matrix. Is it not? Like, I'm sure that there is a bit where, like, I know it's been a while for me as well, but I'm sure there is a bit where I can't remember which character it is. I feel like it might be Agent Smith, but I'm not sure. Where he looks up and then he's at the place where he looked, just like Cass does. I feel like there is one.
Yeah, if anybody, it was probably going to be one of the agents because they can just assume people.
Yeah. No, I love this though. It's so good. And I wish they treated Cass more otherworldly like this in the future because he just seems so alien here.
And like what makes it even better is that they don't use the like fluttering wing sound. It just happens. Like he didn't have to use his wings to get from this place to that place.
It's so good. I love it.
Yeah.
It's implied here that Cass can't fly long distances anymore. So yeah. Maybe he can only do that little leg jump.
So as he walks through the corridor to follow this Reaper, we hear a voice that just says, "Hello, brother." And so we come back to Ellen and Joe, and they meet up with Sam and Dean, and the entire town is now empty. And they're like, Ellen asks if they've seen Cass. Sam's like, "He was with you." He says, "No, he went after some Reapers." Back in the building, the room's all dark, and then it lights up in flame, and Cass is now surrounded by holy oil that's burning as holy fire. He then sees Lucifer. I love this conversation. I wish I could put the whole entire thing in, because I'm not going to do it justice. By assumption, Lucifer can't get to Cass either, because he's in the holy fire. So is Cass being a little bit brave here or not?
Like, if Cass is anything, it's defiant. So I actually think this is a specific brand of Cass bravado, because I actually do think Lucifer could kill him, but I also think Lucifer at this point, it's like beneath him to kill Cass.
Yeah.
It would just be a waste of his time.
But also he wants him to join his side for now. That doesn't mean he will keep him alive any longer.
I mean, it would be advantageous to have Cass, because he is a voice in the Winchester's ear, you know, he's their friend, their ally. So if he did join Lucifer, he would help convince Sam to say yes. That's
true. So Lucifer says, so I take it you're here with the Winchesters, and Cass lies and says, I came alone. And Lucifer's like, loyalty, such a nice quality to see this day and age. I can't stand the way that Mark says Castiel. It's like he drops the T, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like Castiel. It's weird. I guess the Reapers are in line with Lucifer, maybe because they're going to release Death. But then, like, do they really want that? I don't know. Do they have a choice? No. Or are they just neutral?
I maintain they're neutral. They're there because they have to be. Because of the, like, death that is happening in the town. And then also, I feel like they are sort of, like, beholden to the actual horseman Death. Right? They have to do what he says. So,
yeah,
I don't think any of them have a choice in being there. And also, they wouldn't maybe want the choice. It's kind of weird. They're kind of almost like worker bees. You know?
Yeah, that's true. That they're there to clean up everybody else's mess.
Yeah.
The only reason why I say that is because Lucifer says, I heard you came in an automobile. But I forgot that he has, like, demons everywhere in this town. So that's how he found out.
What was that like? Slow. Confining.
Then we get a really good look at Lucifer, and we see that, like, his face kind of looks like it's got a whole bunch of blisters and stuff. Like, like his skin's, like, rotting, kind of.
Yeah, I always thought it looks like Nick's kind of, like, breaking down from the inside. Yeah, almost like like a rotting. It's grim.
Yeah.
But yeah, because they are sort of like wounds on his face, right? Yeah.
So the way that I see it is like, have you ever? You're not supposed to, but have you ever, like, burst a blister?
Yeah, it's grim.
It's like that, like the skin afterwards. Yeah, it's gross. I'm not gonna keep that in, but that's the way that.
Well, no, that's actually a good analogy, because Lucifer is kind of like an infection, you know? I feel like Nick's maybe trying to, like, expel him, maybe, because he's not supposed to be there. And also, we've seen the other angel vessels, I think we see it later on, actually, like, explode. So maybe it's just, like, containing that energy, almost like, yeah, cool.
Cass asks what's wrong with the vessel, and Lucifer's like, yeah, Nick is wearing thin. He can't contain me forever. And Cass gets very, very protective. And, like, almost sort of lunges, but obviously he can't go far. And says, you're not going to take Sam Winchester. I won't let you.
Yeah.
You go, Cass.
Yeah.
Lucifer's kind of confused as to why he's fighting. And he kind of monologues and says, I rebelled. I was cast out. You rebelled. You were cast out. Almost all of heaven wants to see me dead, and if they succeed, guess what?
You're their new public enemy number one. We're on the same side, like it or not, so why not just serve your own best interests, which in this case just happen to be mine?
Which is not actually true.
he's just going with the whole, the enemy of your enemy is your friend.
Yeah. Cass has never been selfish.
No.
So he would never go after his own best interests.
I mean, he regularly, like, self-sacrifices for the Winchesters, like, regularly. Like, enough that it's a problem.
And then he says, I'll die first.
Mm-hmm.
And Lisa says, I suppose you will.
Ooh.
Yeah.
As we were saying at the beginning of this episode, like, Lucifer here is very, like, soft-spoken.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of paces around a lot as well. He doesn't, like, sit still. Yeah, you're right, he's quite menacing.
Yeah, and it's like a soft condescension.
Yes, you're right, yeah.
It's so bizarre.
It's like
I'm so glad I've never had anyone talk to me like this, because I probably would get really angry. But like, yeah.
It is almost like a superiority thing. Like, I'm talking slowly and softly so you can understand me, because you wouldn't get it otherwise. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah. Ugh. Grim.
Yeah. So we're back outside with the gang, mm-hmm. and they're walking around looking for anything. Mm. And they've been around for 20 minutes and they haven't found Lucifer, they haven't found Cass, they haven't found anybody. And then we hear, there you are. And Meg is there.
Looking fine. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Rachel Rhino in those heels. Yes, please. See, let's get into it.
Shouldn't have come here, boys.
Yeah, well, I could say the same thing for you.
Didn't come here alone, Dino.
This puddle sort of splashes, implying that there's some hellhounds. We then hear some noises. Can Dean still see hellhounds? No,
because he needs the glasses later on.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I love that they zoomed into his face when they appear, like, to show his reaction, and he looks freaking terrified.
I mean, wouldn't you?
I mean, yeah,
you know what they look like, and one of them killed you.
That's true.
It's the one thing that he actually got over, I guess.
Yeah.
Or no, because it's Sam who ends up killing the hellhound in the end.
I think it is, yeah. I think Dean's no, he did get over his fear. Oh my gosh, I never got this. This brings Miracle into a whole new light. Where, like, Dean finally got over his fear of dogs because they got a dog at the end of the show. And he's like, yeah, I don't have to be afraid anymore. Now I have a dog. There's also that episode where he can talk to dogs. But, like, that's...
We're skipping over that one.
Yeah.
Meg refers to Lucifer as my father wants to... says to them, like, come on, boys, my father wants to see you. Mm. And Sam's like, nah, I think we'll pass. And then they go to attack Meg, but then the hellhounds attack Jo, and she gets a pretty bad wound to her stomach. Mm-hmm. Dean picks her up and, like, runs into, and they run into a store. Luckily, they went into a hardware store. that was luck.
Yeah, that was real.
Could have gone to anywhere. And they put her down, and Jo's, like, not in good shape. This is the one thing that doesn't really make sense.
Yes.
But Sam and Dean throw, like, a chain around the door and put some salt down. I was like, no. Salt doesn't work. You need that goofer dust. Like,
I thought this too, and then I reasoned it out in my head. Was the goofer dust only for hellhounds that were specifically targeting someone on a contract? But if they're not specifically, like, targeting someone, then maybe salt. I don't know. Did they know about the salt when they were running from? They did, didn't they?
When they were running from what?
Like, last time they were, like, was it Folsom Prison Blues? They didn't try salt that time, right? I don't think they actually tried it.
I thought they did, and it just, like, you saw, like, a paw print, like.
Maybe you're right. The inconsistencies of Supernatural, I swear. But, like, that's what I thought. Like, maybe the hellhounds almost have, like, they can supersede the salt if they have, like, a contract on someone, because there was literally, like, no escaping them.
Yeah, and I mean, also we also learn in this episode that, like, they're not really trying to kill Sam and Dean at this point, though.
No.
So pulling back on the hellhounds is actually probably a good thing. Otherwise, they would just, like, so the salt wouldn't have stopped them. It was literally Meg just calling them off.
Oh, yeah. Or like containing them, right? While... Because, yeah, you're right. They don't actually want anything bad to happen to Sam and Dean. That's not part of the plan. But she's there to slow him down while Lucifer can do his plan bit. So, yeah, maybe they were just outside.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. That works. That works.
I will say it was at this point that I was like, oh, this is the episode that they die. Oh, this was the episode that they die.
Yeah.
Like, just literally just before the Hellhound attack, I was like, is it here already? Like, there was things in this episode that were triggering memories, and I was like, wait a minute. So I looked up and I was like, oh yeah, it is this one.
And it sucks. We're in the hardware store, and Joe's getting like bandaged up, but it's not looking good. Like, everyone's sort of looking at each other, like, this isn't good. Sort of trading glances. Sam and Dean do kind of an aside. Dean's like fiddling with like a radio or something, and they're talking about like, how's it going, and Sam says the salt lines are holding, but says also that they're trapped like rats.
Hey, you heard Meg. Her father's here. This is our one shot, Sammy. We gotta take it no matter what.
Dean's already processing here that they might have to sacrifice Joe to kill Lucifer. It's just, I don't know why, but it messes me up that she gets killed by hellhounds, because I guess because of the whole little sister aspect that she has with like Sam and Dean, and like Dean already died this way. Yeah, I mean, it could have been worse. She could have got like shot in the heart or something. That would have been a more direct parallel.
Yeah.
So Ellen shouts over to Sam like to get some help, and Dean's managed to like make his radio thing work, because we cut to Bobby, and he's been trying to ring them, but as we know, there's been no signal at where they are, or it's been cut out, and he's like, oh damn it, but then he gets static from the radio, and it's Dean, so he says KC5 Fox Delta Oscar, come in. And I was trying to like decipher if it meant anything, but I don't think so. Like KC5 like FD Kansas City? No, I don't know. Anyway, so, this got me. Annabelle, this got me. Dean rang his dad for help, and he picked up.
Without hesitation.
Without any hesitation. And he's there, like, Dean is panicking. He's like, we've got problems. And Bobby's there and is like, it's okay, I'm going to help you. Everything's fine. He is being a dad, and this made me, like, I think more emotional than, like, Ellen and Joe. Like, because, the relief that, like, on Dean's face when he's talking to Bobby of, like, okay, yes, someone's here to help me.
It's okay, boy. That's why I'm here.
And he just never got that from John. And this the way it's framed really reminded me of the conversation that he has in that, like, in the garage, where John doesn't pick up and he leaves in that voice message. But yeah, Bobby picked up because Bobby is great. And a good dad. He's a good dad, most of all.
He's the best dad.
Yeah. So, Dean's like, it's Joe, she's pretty bad. And Bobby's just like, okay, all right. So we figure out what to do next. And Dean's like starting to panic. And then Bobby's like, no, what do we do next? He's really trying to focus him.
Before he went missing, did Cass say how many Reapers?
I don't know. He said a lot of things, I guess. I mean, does the number matter?
Devil's in the details, Dean.
But Ellen comes over, and she's obviously very detail-oriented, because she says that from the number of places that she saw Cass look, she should say that there's at least over a dozen Reapers, like, just by watching his eyes, like, flick around. Bobby knows what this is, because of course Bobby knows he's like the font of all knowledge.
Right.
And says that this is the 7th seal, like the Lucifer's planning to unleash death. The horseman, the Pale Rider. And Dean says unleash. I mean, hasn't death been tromping all over the place? Hell, I've died several times myself.
You can't just casually say that. You can't casually just put that out there.
Sometimes it has to be a joke. So Bobby's like, no, this is the angel of death, Big Daddy Reaper. They've kept this guy chained in a box 600 feet down under. The last time they hauled him up, Noah was building a boat. And that's where the place is crawling with reapers. They're waiting on the big boss. And so Bobby has like a real fancy Bible that he's like bookmarked. And he turns to a page called The Battle of Carthage. And it turns out that there was a big battle there in the Civil War and a lot of people died. It was so intense they called it the Battle of Hellhole. And that the people died on the land of William Jasper's farm. So basically this seal has to be broken in a place where lots of people died. And that's where they are.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm.
We come back to Cassie still in the holy fire and Lucifer's there. Meg comes in. And she says to him, actually, that she's got the Winchesters pinned down. So, yeah, you're right. There was no intention of actually killing either of them. But, I mean, Ellen and Joe are fair game, right? They're extra. They shouldn't have taken Ellen and Joe. Like, they don't have the plot armor that Sam and Dean kind of know they have because they're vessels.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they do.
Yeah. Nothing is gained from their loss.
No. It's just sad, but again, like, because it's the mid-season finale, they have to up the stakes of the apocalypse and show that it's an actual threat to people around them. And
I mean, maybe, do you know what was going on in terms of fan reception at that time?
See, I don't think it was that bad, but I also don't. The thing is, like, Kripke never liked the Roadhouse, right? So I think all of them eventually they all get killed off, and I don't know if they didn't have any plan for Ellen and Joe. Right, other than Joe being a maybe love interest for Dean, but they sort of seem to have decided by this point that any long-term love interests are just not happening in the show, right? So, like, what other storyline? They weren't thinking of any other storyline to go ahead with them. So, sure, let's sacrifice them to the altar of Winchester.
Yeah, and like you said, showing the stakes of like the problem is, I feel like, this episode is that because Ellen and Joe have basically been missing for 2 seasons, you don't get that same sort of family link that you would do. So had they been more frequent, I feel like this was already tough. Like it was tough, like to see them go. But had they been more of a family, because I don't feel like the hatred that Ellen has for the Winchesters is really ever properly resolved. No. Like, she kind of accepts them, but, like, you know, the grudge that she holds against John Winchester was never really addressed.
But ultimately, they got Ellen and Joe killed, just like John got her husband killed. Mm-hmm. I think that's the parallel we're supposed to draw here. Is that they are the ones that are cursed with, you know, the people around them. I mean, Bobby's already got seriously injured, and then Ellen and Joe are now going to die in this episode. Mm-hmm. You know, Joe's seriously injured before that. I think that's part of it, to kind of show that the people in their circle are not safe and actively probably going to die because they're associated with them. Mm-hmm. I mean, it looked like Cass was gonna like get got in this episode too, right? Because he was being held by Lucifer. They also did kind of have to take him out of the game because he would have been able to just like
stop the hellhounds.
I mean, maybe not though.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, you know, Meg asks Lucifer like what he wants her to do, and he just says like leave them alone.
I'm sorry, but are you sure? Shouldn't we?
Trust me, child.
And he like strokes her face. I don't know. Yeah. Something. Terrible fathers in Supernatural. Lucifer is one of them. Meg has to learn the hard way about absent fathers too.
Which she does. I just love that we get introduced to like these new friendship groups that you don't know that's going to happen, but we know that's going to happen. Like we get the first like reference to Clarence.
Yes.
Which I love.
Yeah.
And we also get like Crowley and Sam and Dean.
Yeah.
and like their friendship. And then we also kind of, though they never interact in this episode, we kind of get the Cass and Crowley like friend, like this friendship circle that's forming that you just don't know it's forming yet. It's just good. Like, yeah.
And like from this scene, you understand. I understand more. I never really understood like XDL, the ship. I didn't really get it. Like I was like, oh yeah, because he's an angel, she's a demon, blah blah blah. Yeah, fine. But no, actually, I understand it more now because he's watching her basically put all her faith into her father, which he used to have, and see her also be completely let down by a father figure. And they have that in common. Yeah. I feel like that's maybe where they gel.
The issue that I have with her calling Lucifer father is that she also referred to Yellow Eyes as her father as well.
Meg's just got daddy issues.
She really does.
She just needs that father figure. And when she finally realizes she doesn't need a father figure, I think she comes into her own.
Yeah.
And then dies.
Well, that's Chuck, isn't it? Like you can't resolve your father issues. You must always have them because I am the father of everything.
Everybody in Supernatural has daddy issues. Everybody. Yeah. So Cass is kind of spots while this is happening, like a bolt on the wall, like a pipe bolted to the wall. He's like, and then Lucifer says, "Well, Castiel, you have some time to change your mind." Yeah. So back at the hardware store, Ellen is with Joe. Oh, it's so sad. I can't even. Look, Samantha Ferris did a really good job of this, I feel. I mean, Alona Towle, who plays Joe, like just, I feel like you can kind of do like the
slow death.
Yeah, slow death thing. Like it's just like, yeah. But Samantha really, like as Ellen, she made me feel it in this episode. Like, I was crying.
You can see a mother grieving her daughter.
Oh, it's horrible. I don't like it. I didn't like it. It was sad. Yeah, this pulled on the heartstrings. I can't. It's a lot. Dean and Sam are just talking about like getting out and getting past the hellhounds and stuff, while Ellen and Joe are having this sort of like mother-daughter moment. But they are talking about trying to get Joe out, and Dean's like, we get a stretcher, like I'll see what we got. And then as they're kind of looking around,
guys, can we be realistic about this, please?
Joe knows that she's kind of done for.
You're right.
And Ellen's obviously not. But we find out Joe's name is Joanna Beth. Quite enjoyed that. And so Joe has a plan. She says, like, look, I can't fight, I can't walk, but I can do something. Like, we've got propane, wiring, rock salt, iron nails, everything we need to build a bomb. And Dean's like, no. But it's an odd one for me because I don't really like the whole self-sacrifice thing. But also, I do like in this episode that they take her wishes seriously, if that makes sense. Like, they are all on board once they get on board with the plan. So yeah, the plan is that they let the hellhounds in. She like blows up the bomb to give them time.
So John, Bobby, and Ellen are all one generation of hunters, and so Sam, Dean, and Joe are the next generation. She's kind of a little bit below them in generation wise as well. Yeah, but like, it's almost like Dean is not making the mistake of like not listening to people after what happened with Sam. Like,
yeah.
Forcing his choice on people didn't work. And so there is no other option. If she can't, she may not have been as bad as she's implying, but like, this is a way that she could really get them to see her view. But like, I am seeing this as my end. Yeah. And I want to, I was going to say a really bad pun. I'm not going to say that. And like you said, honoring her wishes.
And I think also, like, Sam and Dean accept this because I feel like they would make the same decision in her situation.
Yeah.
So, Joe's saying, like, if I can get us a shot on the devil, like, we have to take it. And Ellen is still arguing, but...
This might literally be your last chance to treat me like an adult. You might want to take it.
You heard her? Get to work.
So they assemble this. There's a whole like montage of them assembling this bomb with like buckets and stuff. And then like the final thing is like this doorbell that Dean finds, like the button.
I'll see you on the other side. Probably sooner than later.
Make it later.
But this is where actually, like, it would have been nice to see that roadhouse scene of them meeting everybody, because would Joe have been there? Like, it would have been really nice for Joe to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And because this was this is one of the last things that's the last thing they say to each other, really. See you on the other side. And it would be nice to have seen them on the other side.
That's true. Because they are literally forgotten. Like, even when we see Bobby and Dean up in heaven, like, that's all we see. I mean, I know COVID, but like, he doesn't even reference them.
No. It could have been like, everyone's here, everyone we left behind, that kind of line. I don't know. I mean, I guess they had it planned, and it would have been nice to have seen it. And I still wish they'd just shoot it. Like, come on, how hard could it be to like build a set of like some approximation of the Roadhouse somewhere and just shoot that scene for YouTube? Just do it, like, just have
especially
it.
now that like so many of the restrictions have been lifted.
So Dean then like kisses Joe on the forehead, which was the perfect way to end their relationship. I wish they'd just left it there, because again, like, little sister vibes. He's acknowledging that relationship between them, that he cares for her. But then he waits a moment, and then he actually like kisses her. I won't say properly.
On the mouth.
On the mouth.
This cheapens Crowley's kiss. I'll put it out there.
It does cheapen it. Yeah, it does. He does the thing where they like lean their heads together. That's a very Winchester like goodbye thing. And then Ellen comes to sit by her, and she's like, well, I'm gonna stay. She's gonna let the hellhounds in and be with Joe. And they kind of like, there's a lot of crying, and they kind of accept that. I don't like it. There's a lot of crying. They do a good job. This is a very good performance from everybody.
Yeah.
If you want to cry, just go watch it again. That's what I'm gonna say. This is what I mean. Okay. This is my problem with Dean kissing Joe. I want to go into this a bit more because this would have been a very heroic, self-sacrificial thing and supernatural for them to help Sam and Dean kill the devil, right? Mm-hmm. But instead, I feel like Dean kissing Joe, instead of making it about Joe's sacrifice, transfers it all into like man pain. Yeah. It's how does this affect him? Mm-hmm. Right?
And we see this a lot with every female character in Supernatural is how does it affect the Winchesters?
Which I know they're the main characters, but they could have let Jo have her final moments on the show, like, they kind of, I mean, we do have like Ellen and Jo together at the end, but like, I just wish they hadn't done the kiss. I don't know, it just really annoys me.
Yeah, and so here's the problem: we're hung up on it because of how out of character and how stupid it is.
Yeah, that's it.
We're missing out on the fact that they have given their lives for the Winchesters for this plot that ultimately doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's a pointless sacrifice, which is the worst bit about it. And essentially,
and I do feel like every time that the Winchesters sacrifice themselves is usually worthless.
Yeah, it is, and they should know this by now. But yeah, that's it's annoyed me because they make their sacrifice about Dean and his relationship with Jo, which was really non-existent anyway. Other than it would have been, I think actually losing family, like as a little sister, is much more impactful in this episode. Yeah. So Ellen says, "Get going, boys," and then says, "Dean, kick it in the ass, don't miss," which I loved. That was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sam and Dean leave. Ellen unchains the door, sweeps through the salt line, opens all the propane, and like, you know, says "I love you" to Joe. But Joe has unfortunately already died, which is really sad. And then we see the hellhounds come in, and as like Sam and Dean run like across, there's a big old explosion.
Yeah.
She does shout, Ellen does manage to shout, "Go straight to hell, you ugly bitch," which I can't like. Because she can't actually see the dogs. She doesn't know they're ugly. They might be rude. No, they're not real cute, but... So yeah, Sam and Dean kind of stop to watch the explosion and then leave. Because you have to stop and watch an explosion. That's like action hero rules.
Right.
Or walk away from it.
Yeah. Would that have killed... That wouldn't have killed the hellhounds, right?
I think so, because they filled those buckets with like iron nails.
Oh.
So yeah, I think that was the point, and salt. So I think it would have, because I've missed over this part, but Ellen says, you know, those dogs have our scent now, so if we don't kill them, they'll hunt us to the end of the earth. And we never hear those hellhounds coming after Sam and Dean again. I mean, it could have just been because Meg doesn't want them to, if they did survive. I mean, it could have been that if Ellen and Joe hadn't died here, the hellhounds would have kept hunting them afterwards anyway, and they would have died. So we go to this field, it's nighttime, and it's really dark. It's really dark. And there's just loads of like men standing around, and Dean just said like, "Well, I guess we know what happened to some of the townspeople."
Last words?
Good.
It's like, I like that actually. I don't know why. I feel like they have this conversation again later on where they're like, "Do you want to say anything before we go? Like, you know, get the big bad?" And they're like, "Nah, it's all been said." So Lucifer is like filling in a hole with his shovel. I kind of like that it shows like Lucifer's not afraid to get his like hands dirty, because I guess he could be having demons do this for him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But maybe he needs to do it himself also to open the seal. So Sam comes up and he's got a shotgun, and Lucifer drops the shovel, and Sam's like, "You wanted to see me?"
You know I'd never hurt you. Not really.
Oh, he's so smarmy. And then I love this. I don't know why. I remembered this bit from this episode like the best, where Dean says, "Yeah, well, I'd hurt you," and then he says, "So suck it," and shoots Lucifer. He snuck up on the devil. I just want to like.
What it is that Lucifer was so distracted by like, you know, his perfect vessel that he was like, "Damn, I'm gonna look fine."
That's it. It's the hair. Oh, my hair will be flowing in the breeze.
I won't be blonde, but okay.
That's fine. I guess I'll take it. So yeah, they do it. They shoot the devil. I love that. This episode should have been called "Shoot the Devil." Just saying. Mm-hmm. I know it's abandon all hope. It kind of gives the game away. I don't know. That's a song, right? "Shoot the Devil." I'm sure it is.
Probably. There's this or a lyric in a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did it. End of Supernatural. We can all go home.
If only.
Yeah. See, they forgot the like whatever rule of Zombieland, and they didn't double tap the devil. Is what happened here. No,
you think?
I don't think it would have helped, but they should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised they didn't shoot him again. Like, just, if it was me, I would have shot him again.
Well, didn't Crowley say fill up his face?
Yeah. Just, if it was me, I would have shot him again. One, and he didn't go like, you know, like normally things do when you shoot him the Colts. Sort of been like, that's a bit weird. Better shoot him again.
Yeah.
I blame Dean for this one.
If they obviously didn't learn anything from the war episode where when they stabbed the kids or the people in the thing and it didn't like nothing happened.
Yeah, exactly. Like they should learn that lesson.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought it'd be different because he's an angel or, you know, literal Satan. So they're just stood over, like, watching him, and Lucifer goes, ow! So yeah, Lucifer is hurt, and Sam is like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Lucifer's like, where did you get that? And he's like, really, like, ow, that really hurt my head. Mm-hmm. And then he punches Dean so hard, he flies sideways into a tree. It was like a full, like, ragdoll effect. It was great. Sam kind of watches him go, and then, like, looks back, and Lucifer says, now, where were we? Do you know what? I think I do remember watching this and not knowing that this happened. Mm-hmm. And watching, and I was like, oh my god, they won. They did it. I actually did have that moment, and then when he got up, I was like, oh no. But of course, but like, I did think for a moment they had won when I first watched this.
Me too. And then when it stood back up, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? I was so, for it to happen so quickly after Joe and Ellen have died.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
Just adds insult to injury.
Yeah. So Lucifer explains.
Don't feel too bad, Sam. There's only 5 things in all of creation that gun can't kill, and I just happen to be one of them.
Okay, question. Yeah. What 5 things?
I was going to ask the exact same thing. So we know one of them. I'm going to guess the other one is Michael.
I would have thought it would have been all the archangels. So I assumed it was the 4 archangels and God is who he's referring to.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
But then also, like, death is definitely also one of them. For sure,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, could you kill the horseman with the Colt? I don't think you could. And they don't ever try to shoot Abaddon with the Colt. Or was the Colt not about then?
I know. The thing is, they lose it and gain it so many different times. Like, do they even have it at the end of the show? I don't think they do. I think it's finally gone.
Yeah, because Dean gets the, like, literal mark of Cain to go kill Abaddon, right? That's a whole plot. That's that whole plot point. When Lucifer said there was only 5 things the cult couldn't kill, so maybe they could have just, got the cult again somehow. But that whole storyline. I know why, because, you can't just have, like, this weapon that kills things. I just wish they had the foresight to not put a number on it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have literally, instead of saying 5, just several things.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it cheapens it if you don't give a number. Like the fact that there are only 5 things.
Yeah. And it's not just 5, is it? There's like Amara. There's like, I don't know if it would work on the device. Like, there's lots of things that it wouldn't work on.
So he says of all creation.
Okay.
So creation to me in this show would be anything that Chuck created.
Right. Yeah, that makes more sense. I can't like that.
So Amara and God wouldn't be on that list.
Mm.
And neither would, well...
What's stupid?
Yeah, neither would death.
No, neither would... Yeah, you're right, neither would death as well. I think here, just because this is how I think I've written it, I think he's referring to the 4 archangels and God. I think that makes sense. Mm. What's annoying is that the cult basically gets replaced by the Equalizer later on, doesn't it? Like the gun they try to shoot God with. Or it's just another fancy gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just whatever, man.
That anti-God, anti-American line actually makes sense now because, like, a gun couldn't kill God, and, like, how American are guns?
Exactly. Like, that makes total sense. Yeah. So, yeah. I understand why they didn't have the cult kill. I mean, obviously, why they didn't have the cult kill Lucifer. Like, why this had such shock value. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. At least he doesn't say what the 5 things are. That's my only thing. Fine. I'll take it. I'm stopping moaning about it now.
But it would have been nice to have known. Like, Lucifer doesn't need to tell them, but now that they're aware,
yeah,
they never find out what it can't kill.
Yeah, and I feel like after this, they just kind of stop using it. They're like, oh, well, just in case it doesn't work, we're not going to use it anymore.
Yeah, it does feel like that. Like, before it was their go-to for everything. And, like, because not even Cass knew the cult wasn't going to work.
Exactly. I guess, you know, the cult was made by a human, so why would it work, almost?
That's true.
You know, humans have never had to fight the devil or angels, have they? So,
right.
Yeah. Again, they needed to depower it because it's too powerful. And I really, that really annoys me because they do the same thing with Cass. They have to depower him because he's too powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder if things are referring to groupings, so it wouldn't kill any angels.
I'm like, I don't know.
Because I honestly can't remember. Because, like I said, the devil trap appears on his forehead when he gets shot in the forehead. So why would a devil's trap or like the pentagram actually like shows up? Why would that kill an angel?
Yeah, you're right. It kills monsters and demons, definitely, but up to a certain level of demon, presumably. So maybe it would have killed demons. Maybe I'm remembering the whole Abaddon storyline differently, and the cult just wasn't available. But like, yeah, all right, we'll get there. We'll get there. Right. I'll be annoyed about it then. Okay.
Yeah. So Lucifer gets back to shoveling like dirt, and Sam goes over to check Dean.
I don't suppose you just say yes right here and now. End this whole tiresome discussion. That's crazy, right?
It's never gonna happen.
And Lucifer's like, I don't know, Sam. I think it will. You know, it will happen soon, within 6 months. And I think it will be in Detroit. I don't know how I feel about him predicting the future like that. It's kind of annoying. Like, I get it because he's like Destiny, but it's just like,
I feel like it's some kind of like prophecy that the Winchesters haven't heard, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. I mean, also, I don't, because angels can travel in time, right? So I guess
maybe he's already seen it. Yeah, but then like,
why? I know. Yeah, right. Fine. But they're just bigging up Detroit, you know.
Yeah.
For the final episodes.
For sure. Sam says, you know, I'm going to kill you. You understand? I'm going to rip your heart out. And Lucifer's like, that's good, Sam. Keep fanning that flame in your belly. All that pent-up rage, I'm going to need it. Sam sort of looks around and like sees that those men are just sort of standing there. And Sam asks what he did to this town. And he was like, oh, Lucifer says, I was very generous with this town. 1 demon for every able-bodied man.
In there. I know, it's awful, but these horsemen are so demanding. So it was women and children first.
First time that like phrase is not good.
It's really... the way they did this is really dark because he's so sort of like jovially filling in this hole, and like you don't see what's in it, but then you realize once he says that, and it's so horrific.
Yeah.
The casualness of the way that they did it is, I think, quite good to show what contempt he has for humans. It's just a means to an end, right? So,
yeah, like he does not care. At all. He's like, I know what you must think of me, but I had to do this. I have to. You of all people should understand. And we kind of hear what Gabriel was saying last week, but from Lucifer's perspective, because he's saying, I was a son, a brother like you, a younger brother, and I had an older brother who I loved, idolized, in fact. But one day I went to him and I begged him to stand with me, and Michael
turned on me. Called me a freak.
This next part is him talking, like recognizing Sam. I feel like that first little bit was definitely true to him. But this next part, like calling me a freak, calling me a monster, that is trying to get Sam on his side.
Yeah, definitely.
And then he beat me down all because I was different, because I had a mind of my own. Tell me something, Sam. Any of this sound familiar?
Anyway, you'll have to excuse me. Midnight is calling, and I have a ritual to finish. Don't go anywhere. Not that you could if you would.
So, what's interesting about this speech is that this used to be true, that, you know, Sam would take something to Dean and Dean wouldn't listen to him. But at the beginning of this episode, when Sam was like, I want to go with you to Carthage, and Dean's like, okay, fine, without really any fuss, already shows that their relationship has changed enough, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. I think after, it was a filler episode and I can't remember what it was. the episode where he catches Dean talking to Bobby.
Yes, yeah.
About like how he started the apocalypse. Yeah. After that conversation, I do think it actually had effects on Dean.
Yeah.
And also the end. Obviously that was definitely a catalyst.
Yeah.
For sure. It was coming from both sides. So hearing it from Sam, how like important it was for him to be heard and be a partner, and then seeing what happens when your partnership fails.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Lucifer starts this, it's like over the hole, he starts saying like a chant, and then he turns to the demons and says, repeat after me. We offer up our lives, blood and souls to complete this tribute. And then he like snaps his fingers almost. Does he snap his fingers?
He doesn't, but it feels like he could, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one by one, there's like a flash and these demons drop and they die. Sam and Dean look kind of horrified, and Lucifer's like, what? They're just demons. Like, they're just garbage.
Like, just exactly confirming what Crowley said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That they're nothing but dirt on the bottom of his shoe.
Which again makes his interaction with Meg, when she's like calling him father and him stroking her face and stuff, you know it's all a manipulation, because this is how he really feels about her.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, she is the demon equivalent of how he feels about Cass.
Yeah, exactly.
So if Cass joined him, he would end up dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. So we, talking of Meg, we come back to the building where Cass is stuck in the holy fire, and he's like unscrewing this bolt in the wall. I think it's so funny that, like, you know, they zoom in on his hand to show that it's turning.
Yeah.
Like, I know demons like to monologue, but would you not notice that his wrist and fingers are turning?
No, because she's too entranced with his face. This scene, I love this scene. I love it. Go on, and I will talk about it in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Cass is like, oh, you seem pleased. And Meg says, we're going to win. You can feel it.
You cloud-hopping pansies lost the whole damn universe. Lucifer's gonna take over heaven. We're going to heaven, Clarence.
And Cass is like, well, that's strange, because I heard a different theory from the demon named Crowley. And Meg's like, you don't know Crowley. And he says, he believes that Lucifer is just using demons to achieve an end, and then once he does, he's going to destroy you all. Meg's like, no, you're wrong. Lucifer's our father, the father of our race, our creator. Your god may be deadbeat, but mine walks the earth. As she says this, Cassiel gets the last bolt, and like this pipe just like swings at her and like knocks her into the fire. And like, he catches her, of all things.
Why is this so sexy? I'm sorry, but like...
I know, right? I know. I thought the exact same thing. I was like, if they make out right now, it's gonna be the hottest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was so good. It's the closeness of their face. Like it's very, there is very good sexual tension in this scene.
Mm-hmm. And I think this is the first time that Cass actually looks tall.
Yes.
Meg's quite short, even with her heels in. I know she's like leaning, but like she is really, really like short on him.
Yeah.
And he tries to exercise her and he can't seem to do it. Do you think he can, but he didn't do it because he wouldn't be able to get out of the fire otherwise? But
no, because he could still have done what he did.
Yeah. Used her body. So she says, "Oh, you can't count demons, can you? Cut off from the Home Office. You ain't got the juice. What are you gonna do, you impotent sap?" And he says, "I can do this." And like,
he does. It's a lean in. He does do a lean in.
Yeah.
Like you think, oh, they're gonna kiss. Yeah.
But in fact, he like just throws her over the fire, and she starts screaming as he like walks on top of her to get out the fire.
This is why I love this. Not just because they were like teasing that like Cass might kiss Meg, which I think would have been really great. I actually fully on the Meg Steele train. Like I think this rewatch, screwed SDL, I'm on the full Meg Steele train. Like, oh yes. It's my little crush on Rachel Minor just coming through. But there's a this is going to take a bit of explanation, I'm sorry. There's a YouTube video that someone put together. It's a montage of Captain Kirk's top 10 fight moves. And one of them is called the Kiss and Dismiss.
Well, we already know that they base Cass on Captain Kirk because he's already done the double fist.
He's already done the double fist. This is what I mean. This is like, I need to remake this video, but with the Cass moves. I think the only one Cass never does is the human bowling ball. But this is it, because it's the Star Trek episode where they are gladiators fighting, which doesn't narrow it down because I think there are like 3 where that happens. But there's an alien woman and Kirk kisses her because of course he did, and then immediately like knocks her out to escape prison. So kind of similar. But this immediately made me think of it. I was like, oh, Cass is using the old kiss and dismiss.
What's funny is that Meg fell for it, so I'm thinking that Meg has got a little bit of a thing for Cass too.
I mean, she called him Clarence. She sure does. I mean, I definitely think Meg has a thing for Cass. There's this, the sexual tension is just, it's there. It's great. I loved it so much. And like, how does Cass fully know how to lean into that? I don't know, but he does. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Meg would have kissed him just for the fun. Just for the fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
because then it would have been like a taunt, right? She loves to taunt like her victims. So it could have been like, haha, you kissed a demon.
Exactly. I think we don't know that angels could have some kind of like kiss power. Because demons do. Demons do. Yeah. Demons do. So why not angels? I think it's like the way he throws her on the fire is just such like, it's so funny to me. I don't know why this is so funny to me, but the Cass in this episode is just brutal, and it's quintessentially Cass. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So if we were going to title this episode anything other than the episode name, this would be season 5 episode 10, Kiss and Dismiss, because it also happens between Dean and Joe.
I mean, Crowley does it too.
Crowley does it too. Right.
I don't know how insensitive that is with Joe and Dean, but yeah, that's true.
It is. But look, yeah.
You gotta laugh.
You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh or you cry.
Basically, yeah. So we're back in the field and Lucifer's looking over at the mass grave and Sam's looking at Lucifer, and Dean's glancing between the two of them. The ground rumbles, and Cass appears and like shushes them. Lucifer turns to look at them, but they've disappeared. Like Sam, Cass, and Dean have just disappeared. He then says, "Oh, hello, Death."
Ooh. So Cass can still fly then. He just chose to ride in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, he would only have to take them to the Impala, which is in town.
That's very true.
He wouldn't have to go far.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. Yeah. No, this... Oh, yeah, great. It's great. Trust Cass to, like, show up at the last minute.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, the final bit of this episode is... it's pretty sad. I mean, I like that they did kind of acknowledge Ellen and Joe's kind of sacrifice. So they're at Bobby's house and everything is still there, like the glasses that they used to have a drink and stuff. And there's the TV is on and there's sort of like end time signals. So, you know, there's a big tornado, there's a state of emergency. And it says that there's a state of emergency, including the towns of Marion, Fetterville, and Carthage. So it's involved in that, presumably the aftermath of Death Rising.
Yeah.
And Sam, Dean, and Bobby are all around the fireplace. I'm kind of sad Cass isn't there for this. But, and Bobby has a copy of the photograph that he took. And they drop it into Bobby leans forward, drops it into the fireplace, and they watch it burn. And it kind of like centers in on Ellen, because the picture's taken with Dean in between Ellen and Joe, and it centers back onto them. As it burns. Pretty sad. Yeah. What a bummer.
Yeah. I mean, but I do like that they ended it without them talking.
Yes.
Because they did kind of say, like, when Dean asked, do you have any last words? And they're like, no. So it, it kind of continues that they don't have the words. They just have, the carnage of what has just happened.
And I mean, this episode is, as it said, called Abandon All Hope. And this was their only hope to win, right? Get the cult, shoot the devil. And now what? Right? It hasn't worked. Like, as we said, this is a mid-season finale. So we've got a break. We would have had a break now if we were watching this live. And you'd be thinking, oh, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Because all the plans have gone. Yeah.
The only plan they have left is to find God. That's the only active plan that they've got left. But it's a pretty unattainable.
Yeah.
And they keep being told that their destiny is to accept these angels and just do the apocalypse. And it's looking more and more like they have to just accept their destiny.
Yeah. And I think this is it, isn't it? Like, they're getting pushed into this path, and I guess that's the lure of Supernatural. You're like, well, how are they gonna punch destiny in the face this time?
Right. Yeah.
Because they're always they're always being funneled down that path. So how are they gonna get out of this time, boys?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't happen in the next one.
No, I didn't think it would.
Yeah. So yeah, I do like this episode. I think it's really good in terms of storytelling. Obviously, there's always going to be issues because of how long the show. Basically, the issues that arise from this is the fact that the show went on for 10 more years.
You're right, because if it had ended at this season, I think this would have been fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I have anything else to really add because it was just good.
It was good. I'm bummed that, again, women die in Supernatural for man pain, but I also don't know who else they could have sacrificed, if I'm being kind to the show, apart from Bobby or Rufus. There's no one else, right?
Because Yeah, they couldn't. I don't think introducing anybody new at this point would have made sense.
And it wouldn't have the same emotional weight.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that is the fault of the show more than anything.
Yeah. Because they don't have enough characters.
Yeah, I was going to say they don't have enough characters to sacrifice. The only other person maybe would be Anna.
Yeah, I thought that as I was saying it, like, could have been Anna.
But then you're still in the same situation.
Yeah, right.
The only difference is that Dean has actually already slept with her. So,
yeah. God. It's always going to be a love interest. I put it in quotes, love interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it kind of sucks. It's like both of them too, but like I do kind of understand that as well. I don't know. It was just sad all round. But again, I think the only way this could have been redeemed is at the end of the show. I would have liked that. Please, like, I still don't. No, I'm going to say it one more time. I don't understand. After saying like, "Oh, this is how we want the show to end," they couldn't just get everyone together while people are about and like just shoot a 5-minute scene, like in a field. Does it even have to be in the roadhouse? Just in a field. Just like if this looks like Gardino's, like with the bridge. It goes to the bridge. It goes to the goddamn bridge.
I could go back to that bridge.
Anyway, yeah. So I mean, I like this episode too. It's plot. It's very plot heavy. It definitely leaves the show in a really good place for the second bit of the season. And I guess like, what's the next episode? I know what the next episode is.
Yeah, Sam Interrupted.
Andrew Dabb, why?
I don't know. It's the one we all know.
Yeah.
Like the one that's probably cosplayed the most.
Definitely.
But the funny thing is, outside of that, like the pudding, I don't remember any. Like this episode and the prison episode, to me, are the exact same episode.
They are pretty much the exact same episode. I think I remember the monster being quite scary in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the screenshot. It's got like a thing on its palm that's.
It's like a monster narwhal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Why a filler episode after? No, I know why, but also why.
Yeah, I don't. It'll be interesting to see what their attitudes are like, because if you go by tradition, I guess they should be beating themselves up about the loss of Ellen and Joe for nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that. Okay, and Andrew Dabb can do it sometimes. I will give him that. But whether he'll do it well in this episode will be interesting to see.
Because I said we don't get another serious, and I don't think we get another like I think emotionally serious episode until episode 15.
You think? You don't think the song that remains the same?
No.
No.
I don't. It's plotty, but it's not. It's also just like I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a bit of a like. It's nothing like, oh, let's go back in time episode because we can.
Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I don't think so. I think yeah, I would watch this episode again. This is a good one. I like Crowley. I like the zoom. Got him.
Nice.
So yeah, at the end of the episode, I'd like to thank the Pixagora for his wonderful artwork for our podcast. If you'd like to buy that artwork, you can find it on our Redbubble on everything and anything you would like. And if you'd like to come and talk to us, you can do so on our social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, all the things. We are Escaping Purgatory Podcast, or just Escaping Podcast on Twitter because it was too short. And yeah, come tell us about what you think about Lucifer's characterization over the seasons. That's got to be a long one, right? What do you think?
Yeah.
I want to know.
Definitely.
Give us some stuff to like pick up on as we go through that we haven't thought about so far. Yeah. So
this week we found an abandoned town. We faced our enemy and we lost. Hopefully next week we can find our way out.
Oh, bye!
Bye!